Good morning, and it's chilly out here. It's about 45 degrees. However, we have had multiple days of no rain and stuff has dried out enough for us to actually get some stuff done outside. So what we are going to do is we are going to head up to the pole barn and we're going to grab the tractor because I need to do a little bit of cleanup. If you've been watching recently, you know that we took down a couple of trees right next to the house here. If not, I'll link that video above so you can go take a look. But we have just a little bit of the aftermath left over that I need to get cleaned up. And like I said, it's been raining, but we've had a little break in the weather. So even though I have a ton of stuff that I need to get done inside, it's just too nice outside not to take advantage of the nice weather and take a couple hours to get a few things cleaned up. I really don't like to have stuff kind of scattered everywhere like this, because then when winter comes, if we're walking through here and there's snow on the ground, that can be a pretty big hazard. So I want to go ahead and get that cleaned up before we have any snow. We typically have a little bit of snow in November, and then it melts off, and then we get our really heaviest snow in January usually. So anyway, I want to work on getting some of this cleaned up. Plus it's an eyesore. I don't like to have stuff just kind of piled up around the property like this. We like to you know, things get messy when you're working on projects, but we like to periodically come back in and work on getting stuff cleaned up. So we're going to get started on that. I've allotted just a couple of hours today to work on this, and so we'll see what kind of damage we can do. The branches that are on the ground, basically I need to get those picked up in the tractor bucket and take them over to the burn pile. All of these logs, Robert got that entire huge mountain of rounds. He got that all split, and then we stayed out here after dark one night getting all of that stacked. So that's pretty exciting to have all of that done. That is probably like 2 seasons worth of wood for us. I've mentioned before, our house is pretty small. It's sorry, tripping over some rocks. Our house is pretty small. We're less than 800 square feet. We bought a new wood stove a couple years after we moved in here, and it's very efficient. So it doesn't take a lot of heat to heat our house. We don't run the wood stove through the night. Sometimes in the deepest, darkest, coldest parts of the winter, we will load up the wood stove before we go to bed and then tamp it down. That generally keeps the house warm all night. And then we just kind of get the fire stoked back up in the morning. So we don't go through a ton of wood, maybe a cord and a half, 2 at max, just depending on how cold it is. So I'm excited because we basically have a couple years worth of wood. Anyways, enough chatting. Let's go ahead and get started getting some of this mess cleaned up. We're gonna take all of the branches over to the burn pile. All of the rounds we're gonna go put over by the wood splitter so that we can finish getting those split, stacked, and then get that wood splitter put away for the rest of the winter. So let's get started.
What are you doing? Are you gonna help? Are you gonna help? What are you doing? Where's Jasper? What is all that noise, huh? What's that noise? Hi, Mike. Hi.
Appalachian sunrise meets my skin. Even with my eyes still closed, I feel it coming in. Golden, golden, I'll follow only golden, 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 golden things. Mount Laurel high fives for miles in spring. Rainbow trout and a hummingbird wing. Golden, I'll follow only golden, golden.
I think I underestimated how cold it is out here. I mean, I'm wearing multiple layers, but I don't have a coat on. I don't always like wearing a coat if it's super cold because it's just too bulky. I'm actually noticing as I'm loading all of these branches onto the bucket of the tractor that these would be perfect, I think, for poles for our fence. We are extending our stick fence around the garden. Robert's been working on that. And so he has, I think, all of the posts set for the backside, and he's been working on all the cross bracing, and now he needs poles for all the uprights. So I think what I'm going to do is, instead of taking these and putting them on the burn pile, I'm going to go ahead and just put them over by the garden. Then he or I can go through with the Sawzall and cut all of the small branches off, and we'll have all of these poles to continue that fence around. So it makes no sense to go cut poles out of the woods but then throw these on the burn pile. So I think he can use these. I think most of them are long enough, so I'm gonna go ahead and take them over and plop them down over by the garden.
Golden things, gold hair, gold rings, gold leaves, gold anything, gold. I'll follow only golden, golden things.
The next round we are going to put on the burn pile because it is just shorter, smaller, like cedar branches, and that'll actually be really helpful. Cedar burns really fast and hot, and that'll be helpful when we're getting the burn pile going, kind of getting it going and keeping it going. So I'm gonna put all of those on the burn pile.
Walk up the river by my sun. Feet step over splinters of the moon. Golden things, golden. I'll follow only golden.
All of these rounds we're going to take down and put them by the wood splitter, which is actually just kind of right near the burn pile. And Robert or I, the next time we're out here working, can work on getting those split up and stacked up on the wood pile. The smaller rounds, I think what I'll do is they don't really need to be split, so I'm gonna just go ahead and load those up in a separate trip, and we'll take those and put those up on the wood pile just as is, because they can go full size into the wood stove.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know, if I will ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high, even if the sky is falling down. Jumping from cliffs so high, trusting our wings to fly. Sometimes we're crashing down, but we get up and start from the ground. And falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs.
We are done. We got all of the big stuff picked up, which is exciting. And all that's left now is the branches that Robert might be able to use the fence. I decided to leave the last pile there because if you can't use them, there's no point in piling them in the tractor to dump them in another spot just to have to pick them up to go take them to the burn pile. So we'll see if he can use those. I do have them all kind of collected in one area. If not, then I'll go ahead and pick them up with the tractor and take them down to the burn pile. And I have to come back in at some point with the rake and kind of rake up all of the small stuff. But all of the big stuff is picked up today, and that is exciting. We are out of time, so I am going to go ahead and head into the house. I have been out here way longer than I planned to be, so I need to go in there and wrap up some stuff. Stay tuned. We always have more things going on the property, in the garden, in the greenhouse, up in the pole barn, inside the house. There's always so much to do, and we've always got projects going. So, well, thank you so much. I hope that you have a great week. Take care, and we'll see you soon.